All right, so I'm Joshua Alexander, mental health freedom fighter, and I have with me here today Madeline,
Yes.
and you're gonna she's gonna share her healing testimony. So where are you from, Madeline?
I'm from the Netherlands.
Okay, wow, that's
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
So what happened when you first started getting sick and developing symptoms?
Well, I think I've always had symptoms. I was born with baby liver. My whole first year as a baby, I got antibiotics, and there was just already a lot going on. And I remember now as a child, I always had this unexplainable sadness about me. My life was actually like pretty good. I had a family, we were together, so there was nothing tangible like, oh, you're sad because this is happening, or like a cause, that makes sense. So as a child, I remember always being really confused and sad and not understanding why. And yeah, I think that's my first memory. I also had like a lot of insecurities, really self-conscious. So there was a lot going on in my mind already as a child. And yeah, as I got older, the symptoms progressed, and yeah, a lot of things happened from there. Yeah.
So when the symptoms were progressing and getting worse, was there a point where you started trying to seek help for it, or what were some of the things that you tried?
Um, Well, I think as a young child, I was really ashamed and really insecure. So I got like this knee problem, and then I was afraid to go to the doctor because I thought like, well, my knee hurts because I'm too big and too heavy. As a young child, that was so programmed already in my mind. So I was always really like hiding and like thinking already it was my fault and I was doing something wrong and I should like hide and be ashamed of that.
Hmm.
And when I was 13, we had to go to at our school in the Netherlands. There's always like this school doctor, and when you're 13, you have to go there, and they measure your height and they put you on a scale. And I was never overweight, but that was such a thing in my mind already as a child, that appointment that triggered an eating disorder within me.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
at 13 years old, I first, yeah, got like a bit of anorexia, but then after a couple months it turned into bulimia.
Hmm.
And that's like such a vicious cycle, and you're like really aware that what you're doing, it feels like it's so wrong, and it's like really disgusting, and it's like something to be ashamed about, and something to hide. So
Hmm.
I was really always like keeping it as a secret. So
Hmm.
but that eating disorder, with, yeah, as we know from medical medium information, is like was like a huge, how do you say it in English, a catalyst, or like
Like a wake up call, or
no, like uh, starting a storm with all my other neurological
oh,
health
I see.
problems. So it
Okay.
really took me down, all the adrenaline
Yeah.
from yeah, from that cycle you're stuck in.
Okay.
So then I got like the tightness in the throat and on the chest, and I got like panic attacks because I was thinking like, well, I can't breathe, I'm going to die.
Hmm.
That was like in my teens really a thing. And then I
Hmm.
started getting help because I was like in the emergency room, like, yeah, hyperventilating. And yeah, they were telling me it's just like an anxiety attack. Just breathe slow and you'll be fine. It's all in your head. But I was like, yeah, it's in my head because, when you think you're dying,
Hmm.
you lose your mind. You're like,
But
um,
you're actually having those symptoms,
yeah,
like they're having physical symptoms like this,
yeah,
and it's not our mind creating that
no,
experience. Yeah.
no. And I always felt like, because, you read things and on the internet and in books, and I never really felt like it was me that would fit into like how do you say, like a diagnosis of bulimia,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
Because there were things in my mind, but I could never see myself in that. So I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, and as a child, I already was like raised more like holistically and the natural way. So that all, yeah. So that also played a part in it, I think,
Hmm.
yeah. But the validation part is huge when you're like
Yeah.
struggling. And in that time period, a lot of people told me like it's all in your head, nothing's
Hmm.
wrong with you. Your blood gets tested, it's all normal, it's all fine. Yeah, that
Yeah.
does something also like on a confidence level, you know, when you're young and you're a girl
Hmm.
and you're like, yeah, life's already hard, you know, and then yeah, to not be validated in what you're going through is yeah, really something that does something to your confidence,
Yeah.
to yeah, to your trust, to the way you are in life, you know?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
I experienced that. So, what were you thinking about, like what to do about it, like, or your future, or what were your fears? Like, what were you going through at that point?
Well, I always had like this hope, this
Hmm.
yeah, this light with me or around me, or even though I felt horrible a lot of the time, there always was also like the spark, you know, things will change, things will get better. And I just kept on searching. And I found when I was 24 or somewhere in my 20s, I did a lot of horseback riding in that day. And I had a really severe accident where I fell on the concrete with my head first from the horse was galloping.
Hmm.
So that was really severe concussion, whiplash.
Wow.
And as we know also from medical medium information, when you hurt your nerves, the hormones that are sent out to help to repair the nerves triggers also EBV to like attach to the nerves. So after
Hmm.
that accident, I was completely, yeah, completely wiped out. I was
Wow.
chronically fatigued for a whole year. It was really a struggle. And after that, I found, because medical medium books weren't out, weren't published back in the day. And I found, do you know from America, Chris Carr from the Crazy Sexy
Yeah.
Diet?
Hmm.
I found her book and it was like, yeah, plant-based, more, yeah, a bit more like medical medium already. And I remember starting that and just stopping the dairy alone and just putting in some juices and things that, yeah, it started such a huge detox and, yeah, brought upon an entire new storm in my body because I was detoxing irresponsible, I think, or like not
Hmm.
knowing what happens. And it was just like a lot. But I did feel better after that. So that really sparked my trust and hope, you know, with food and with, yeah, with there has to be like an answer, or this is part of the answer. So that really was the first validation I got for my symptoms. And
That's great.
yeah, but after that, I got pregnant with I have two daughters. I
Wow.
met my husband before, and so that's also really intense. I was feeling better, but then the pressure is on, you know, it's not like you have the pregnancies and everything. So I still was always like balancing on like being functional. I couldn't like have a lot. My immune system was a bit, yeah, it was really easily like overwhelmed and I was sick a lot. And my
Mhm.
daughters, my oldest daughter had eczema. on her face, on her knees, and she had like chronic, how do you say in English? I don't know the word, like chronic toddler diarrhea, just like the gut was really, really not doing well. And I remember like walking to the park with them, and I was just looking at her, and I followed educations in nutrition and looked at in every diet since that positive experience happened to me. And I was just like feeling ready to like give up already, like, you know, if it's for yourself, then is one thing, but then you to see your child struggle and you try everything under the sun, possible, like to heal it or to do something about it. I was like, really, that the moment was like, what do I do? I put all this energy in like healing everybody, keeping myself going, helping my child. She's suffering and I can't
Mm-hmm.
help, and I was like, well, maybe this is just the way life is on earth, maybe I should just settle for it, and maybe I should just let it go, because it was like, a lot of energy,
Mm-hmm.
And then I think 2 days later or one day later, my mother came in with the medical medium book in my house. And
Wow.
that was really like something angelic or something, the way and the moment and how that happened.
Yeah,
It was really special. Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny how that happens. We get like to the like our breaking point or right to the end, the point of losing faith, and then like God's grace
Yeah.
comes in and like
Yeah. It
blesses
really
us.
was like the losing faith, which you,
Yeah.
that was like really like, what, I tried everything. Come on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So was that the first medical medium book that your mom brought?
Yeah, yeah, but it was already 2019, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I read the first chapter, and I think the first few pages, I was like, oh, this is amazing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read this book, and I saw already there are a lot more, and I downloaded them all on my ebook, and
Yeah.
I read them all, and it was just like, you have a whole healing journey ahead of you, but it's like really reading the words, like knowing you're not like crazy or faulty or just you feel so faulty in life when you never that validation was super important and super healing for me.
Yeah.
And I think even I really had to like dive deep into the information and keep reading the books, because I think the first time I read the books, I only recognized maybe this part of myself in it. And as I kept on reading and kept on like applying the information, so much more of my past like revealed itself to me, like that was also you, and that was you, and that was also you. But because you're like used to like living in symptoms and in this feeling that it's just normal, then just realizing that that was never normal is
Mm-hmm.
like really freedom, I think. Yeah.
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 So what did you start with? Like what type of tools did you start implementing, or what changes did you start making?
I really just started with the morning cleanse,
Mm-hmm.
so the lemon water, the celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, cutting out or really lowering fats, and cutting out all the no foods. And it was amazing because I remember I read the book and I just saw on Instagram that everybody was drinking celery juice. I had no idea how to do it or implement it, but I just already ordered some celery and I just made a juice for myself. And I drank the first sip, and I just could feel my head and all the nerves. Like I was like, whoa, this is like really powerful and really strong medicine. And my daughter as well, she was like the gut problems and the chronic diarrhea, it was like gone within 2 weeks. It was
Wow.
like gone,
That's amazing.
like yeah, her gut is still sensitive and still needed healing, but like that really like intrusive symptom was just gone. That was such a big validation. That was not only me experiencing it, but also yeah, my child, and
That's amazing. I don't think people can understand what that's like struggling with a symptom, like putting so much energy into something and it not, not getting results, and then finally finding an answer. Like, I don't
yeah,
think, and then doing it and then it actually
yeah,
heals and works. Like, I don't think anyone who hasn't been sick can really understand how
no,
profound that is. Like, that's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and I think even if you have a symptom and still maybe you haven't gone like suffered enough or something, or that sounds maybe really ugly, but there are also like people that still don't get it, like
Yeah.
you get also a lot of I don't know, pushback and
Yeah.
yeah, but that's just yeah, that's part of it, I think. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I have a lot of issues like with the heavy metal in the brain. And the first 4 years, because we were in Europe, we used the wrong wild blueberry here, like everybody. Like it was, I
Hmm.
don't know if you like got the saw the live in January from Anthony where he explains really like bilberry.
Yeah.
Was like, I was like, oh my God, I'm because I still had symptoms. I had a lot of migraines and I was really getting better. And when you like consume all the mineral salts, it's like really, um, yeah, it really fights the negative charge of the heavy metals. And the heavy metal detox smoothie, even without the wild blueberries, still like detoxing the oxidation from your brain. And I can remember that feeling when I was like drinking the heavy metal detox smoothie for like, I don't know, the third week or something. I could feel that peace coming over me, like that,
Hmm.
really a lightness and really like, I don't know, like a veil of darkness was like lifted, and it was just like I think that the oxidation and the energetic frequency maybe like being how do you say combat like with the
It
mineral
like
salts like
it disarms the toxic charge
yeah,
from the metals. Yeah.
yeah, like oh, I can still feel that realization where like whoa, it's like really, yeah, it's really really important and really life
Yeah.
changing. Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
now we have like the real Canadian wild blueberries
That's
in
great.
the Netherlands also. So it was like, oh, beginning of the year, I was like, oh, are you kidding me?
That's great.
But healing since that day is like, oh, it was already like amazing, but since using the right Canadian wild blueberry, it's like black tongue constantly, and my migraines have like not I've not really had a real migraine anymore. And my youngest daughter is like, yeah, that's I think the biggest thing that touched me. I was like, I saw my youngest child and she was having some symptoms like with trouble speaking and like developmental, toxic heavy metal brain related thing. And we started her also. She also does like lemon water, celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie. And her tongue, I know that the metals that show up in the tongue are not from the brain, but her tongue was like how do you say in
Like
Dutch we say,
coded.
yeah, like asphalt, like pitch black, like all the way. It was like, it was so intense. And it was like, oh, I'm so happy I can do this for you now, because it's like so problematic if you have to grow up with so much toxic heavy metals in your system. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that really touched me as a mom, and also thinking back like what that did for me, growing up. That's like, yeah,
That's
happy and
wonderful.
grateful for it.
Yeah. So did you have any challenges with family or friends or relationships during your healing, with people
Mm,
questioning it or doubting it, or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
how were you able to navigate that?
Um, yeah, I think my husband saw like how passionate and like what it was doing for me, and he was like, yeah, well, okay, and he's like really, but he had to get like used to it a bit, but he's like, he's not difficult now,
Yeah.
like he's just supportive, but he doesn't read the books, he's not like, but he's also never been like really, really sick. And I doubt he will get really, really sick now, because he's like, yeah, doing like the morning cleanse and having metal
Yeah.
detox smoothie, and he eats everything in the house. So I think
Mhm.
it's pretty well protected. Yeah, but
That's good.
also, well, in the family, yeah, there was like, um, yeah, the information just triggers,
Mhm.
and also my mom was sick. She brought in the information, but she had like her own path, and she couldn't like really understand what it meant for me, the information, even though it helped her. I think, yeah, she's her own person, and she like, I think also like moved on and to other things, and I was like a daughter, who never got validation, and finally I was validated, and still thinking my mom was like, um, understanding of the information, that was like, but yeah, that turned around a bit, but it was me like, oh mom, have you read that blog, or heard that podcast from Medical Medium, because that was me, and she was like, already on a different page. So that was like, that was hard,
Mhm.
because even as a daughter, you want to be like seen and validated, and yeah, so that hurt,
Yeah.
and yeah, there were some family dynamics going on, and yeah, that's also really sad, because you also see other family members suffering with brain related problems, with things where answer, where like you can do something about it with medical medium information, and then that information was like triggering so much, um, by just me sharing about it online, and then seeing it, and me wanting to be validated also by my mom, like, you see, you don't get it, that was me. And I was like,
Mhm.
and yeah, so that was like a really difficult period for me within my family. But I really decided like, well, I'm not going to let myself be held back by it. And I just like, also, we are all different people, and we have all our different lives and choices and free will, and you also have to honor that. And yeah, and then there was my pain involved, like wanting to be validated and
Mhm.
seen. And well, I think when you're a part of this community and you're able to like share and express your emotions and share online, and meet people, through Instagram and through all these groups and stuff, I think that's so incredibly healing. So I think I took that part out and just released my mom from having to like do that
Mhm.
for me,
Mhm.
and I think that was really helpful.
That's great.
And then you can just move on, and just be mother, daughter, or yeah, a normal family again.
That's great. That's wonderful. So it's been about 5 years now since you discovered the information?
Yeah, more
Yeah,
than 5 now. Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So your most of the symptoms you were dealing with throughout your life are pretty much better. Have you experienced like 3 steps up two steps back a little bit in your
Oh
healing
yeah,
process?
yeah, definitely. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I also like the way you start applying to, at least for me, it was like, when you start out, you do like different, and then you have this path, medical medium path, and then you wander a bit, and then you come back, because then you notice, when I like let go the information a bit, or I have stress, or I'm tired, and I always come back, because I know that's my safe place. That's where I feel best. Um, so that was really in the beginning, I started, I felt really good, and then I also, like, life happened, and then I was a bit more free with everything, and then I came back, and then I think my routine also really grew a lot in those 5 years. I'm like now way more hardcore with everything, and I have my habits. Everything is like really um, really smooth, and still with being like really, yeah, strict is not a nice word, but like being really disciplined with
Mhm.
everything. um yeah,
That's,
it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and
yeah,
it's also because life happens. You can't
yeah,
control, there's so much going on all the time, and also as a mom with 2 young kids, yeah, it's like life can be really intense,
yeah,
and but I don't think I could handle everything the way I can now without medical medium information. I definitely would not have been able to handle everything,
yeah.
and I also try to be like just compassionate about it, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Compassion on ourselves. Yeah.
yeah,
I understand that experience. Yeah. It's, anytime I've tried to go like bring in other foods or whatnot, I end up feeling worse. And then I always come back and I
yeah,
just feel the best when I have that daily routine and I'm very
yeah.
disciplined, as you said.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, me
yeah.
too. And
Oh,
then there are days you feel like uh, maybe emotional, or stressed or distracted, and your routine like gets a bit more simplified, or you get a bit more loose because your mind is somewhere else, then,
mhm.
but then that's also okay. Just know, and I think that's a really powerful message also in the books, like, don't be hard on yourself. If you
Mhm.
like slip or make a mistake, or just do something different, just let it go, and just tomorrow's a new day, and just start over, and
Oh,
don't be like that hard on yourself. That's
definitely.
really really important, I think. Yeah.
Definitely. That's great. Well, I'm so happy that you're doing so well and your family, your daughter, was able to heal symptoms, and
Yeah.
you've been doing this for 5 years now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just your husband is supportive of your healing, and that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
definitely.
It
Yeah.
sounds like you're doing really well. So,
Yeah, we
um,
try.
that's great. Yeah, thank you. I mean, so much for sharing your testimony. I think it helps people so much to hear, you know, what other people have gone through with their struggles and how they've found help.
Yes,
Um,
definitely. Yes.
so it's wonderful.
Yeah, you're
Um,
welcome. It's really nice also to be able to talk about it, and
yeah,
also to let other people know, like, you're not alone, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, like, to know that. Yeah, it's
yeah,
important to talk about. Yeah.
yeah. That validation is really important because we don't really get it out there.
No, no, no.
When we first get sick.
No,
So,
true.
uh,
Yes.
it's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Madeline, for sharing. I
Yeah,
really
thank you.
appreciate it. And
You're welcome.
all right, God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you. Bye bye.